Good evening. Welcome to Thai PBS English News Service. I'm Supachong Kunsawan. Tonight we begin in the three southernmost provinces where authorities continue their safety campaign trying to ensure that shop owners can operate on Fridays as usual despite threats of attacks from extremists who claim that Friday is an Islamic holy day which should be a holiday. Locals in the fresh food market by the side of Rot Phai Road in the central business district of Yala province decided to open for business as usual tomorrow in order to prevent the food from being thrown away and in order that they can make a living. However, some still fear that the insurgents' threat will come true and business opening on Fridays, which is a religious day for Muslims, they will be attacked. In the past month, Fridays have been usually quiet. In Pattani province, police, soldiers and public authorities operate a campaign to boost the confidence of shop owners, but the locals are still unsure. Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra has told the governors of Yala, Pattani and Narathiwat to develop a strategy to deal with the drug and human trafficking operations as well as corruption which take place behind the violence. In the past 8 years, this violence has cost 5,000 lives. The government has recently launched the 1890 hotline for locals to report any movement of insurgents to authorities. And despite the ongoing violence, Army Commander-in-Chief General Prayut Chan-o-cha says soldiers continue to watch over the three southern provinces, focusing on the enforcement of law rather than force. He added that he is willing to withdraw the troops right away when peace is restored. The administrative court has not yet issued an injunction as requested in the lawsuit filed by an independent telecommunications expert to suspend the third generation or 3G spectrum auction. The court has told the litigants to wait for the ruling. The administrative court took around 3 hours to examine the complaint by Anupap Tiralap, an independent telecommunications expert who launched a suit asking for the auction of the 2,100 megahertz bandwidth for 3G technology to be suspended. At the end of the hearing, the court did not issue an injunction, but will continue to consider two issues, namely whether or not to accept the lawsuit and whether or not to issue a temporary restraining order as requested by Anupap. However, the administrative court did not indicate the time frame for its adjudication, saying that only it will proceed soon as possible. Anupap said that the intent of his petition is to protect consumers' rights, to ensure the greatest benefit for society, and to increase 3G accessibility for the public. Nonetheless, Sutipon Tawichayakan of the National Broadcasting and Telecommunications Commission, or NBTC, said that damage will be done to the country if the auction is not held as planned, and noted that if the administrative court does not issue any ruling before the actual auction next Tuesday, the NBTC will go ahead with the bidding. Apart from Anupap, 3 more groups will also file related suits with the court next Monday, asking to put the auction on hold. And after questions from many quarters about the real figures involved in the government's rice trading activities, the Commerce Minister confirmed today that more than 7 million tons of state-owned rice has indeed been sold under government-to-government or G2G agreements. A group of academics and rice exporters, however, do not believe that any shipments have been made by the government. Commerce Minister Bunsong Teriyapirom confirmed that the government has signed a Memorandum of Understanding or MOU with 3 countries, namely Indonesia, the Philippines and Bangladesh, and is in the process of drafting an MOU with the Ivory Coast. The MOU framework will span a period of 3 to 5 years, involving the sale of 8 million tons of rice. At the moment, 6 procurement contracts have been entered into for 7.32 million tons of crop. While 20% or 1.46 million tons has already been delivered, the remaining 5.56 million tons will be shipped within next year. The government, however, insisted that it cannot reveal any further detail until the G2G trading process is fully complete. Meanwhile, a group of academics and rice exporters remain skeptical about the government's G2G deals, saying that the world demand for rice has dropped, including in countries with which the government claims to have agreements like Indonesia. At the same time, there is no sign of shipment activities from domestic seaports. The group urged the government to reveal the detail of its G2G contracts, which they believe should not be kept secret. This group of skeptics is also of the opinion that the Bank of Thailand should be involved in the inspection of the government's rice trade by scrutinizing the letter of credit which local commercial banks have to issue to rice trading partners as a way of ensuring payment for the sale of rice. The Metropolitan Police is claiming that its no-holds-barred approach to the eradication of carrying of firearms have halved the capital city's crime rate. However, drug-related crimes continue unabated. Metropolitan Police Chief Lieutenant General Kamronwit Tukrachang says figures show that the crime rate across Bangkok in the past 2 months dropped by almost 50%. This, according to the top cop, is because of the tough search and arrest policy against people suspected of carrying arms in public. In some Bangkok districts, the rate of gun crime is almost at zero. Robbery and theft figures are also down as a result of the gun policy, plus cooperation between the public, security guard companies, and people across the capital. However, narcotics-related crime remains rampant. 2 Laotian nationals were found in Nawanakon, the outskirts of Bangkok, in possession of 100,000 methamphetamine pills. Meanwhile, another case, 3 Hill Tribe people from the north were caught carrying 62 kilograms of crystal methamphetamine into the capital city. To boost the drug bust strategy, Lieutenant General Kamronwit says police will create a network involving the public and private security companies to eradicate narcotics. And while rain is still falling in many regions, some provinces are now facing the opposite problem, drought. Experts are warning that the situation may get worse. Nakhon Sawan's Khao Leo district, which just a few weeks ago was still flooded by water flowing from the north, is now facing drought. Irrigation officials are warning that water in natural ponds will be insufficient and the drought will be worse than previous years. In Mahasarakham, paddy fields are dying and provinces in the northeast are afraid that the dry air will enable viruses like the bird flu to migrate even easier. Today, Japan's Finance Minister Koriki Jojima announced that his country plans to resume lending to Myanmar as soon as possible next year after clearing 60% of debt owned by the fast-reforming Southeast Asian state in January 2013. Here's more from Hugh Adams.
Jojima also said at the start of the Tokyo conference the nation will be able to clear the remaining 40% of debt with the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank in January through bridge loans provided by Japan Bank for International Cooperation. He said that will allow the 2 institutions to resume full-fledged assistance to the impoverished nation. Japan waived $3.7 billion of Myanmar's unpaid debt in April, sending a clear signal of Tokyo's intention to capitalize on its improving investment climate and urgent infrastructure needs. Nobel Peace Prize winner Aung San Suu Kyi's election to Parliament in April helped to transform the pariah image of Myanmar and persuade the West to begin rolling back sanctions after a year of dramatic reforms. Myanmar's Finance and Revenue Minister U Win Sien expressed his appreciation for Japan's clearance of most of his country's debt.
Japan has paved the way of debt arrears clearance for other creditors of Myanmar, and my deep appreciation again goes to Japan's government on behalf of the government and people of Myanmar.
Japan, which occupied Myanmar, then known as Burma, from 1942 to 1945, is the country's biggest creditor. Analysts and experts have said there will be opportunities for foreign companies across the industrial landscape, from energy, mining and construction to agriculture, finance and tourism. A Japanese consortium signed a deal with Myanmar in August to jointly develop a special economic zone on the edge of the commercial capital Yangon. Hugh Adams, Thai PBS.
Thank you, Hugh. IMEX America is known for drawing thousands of traders of the MICE, or Meeting-Intensive Convention and Exhibition businesses from around the world. Our Dr. Rungtip Chonapalai, who is in the U.S. at the moment, talked to Wichaya Sunthorn Saratun of TCEP, or Thailand Convention and Exhibition Bureau, about the advantages Thailand offers to the MICE industry.
Welcome to IMEX America. This is from Las Vegas, one of the biggest trade show in terms of meeting and incentives in North America. And of course, the organizer expect to have more than 2,000 buyers and from 40 countries around the world. And of course, there are also Thai pavilion inside. Let's go and have a look. at the booth of Thailand. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ
คุณผู้ชม from TZED. Yes, so the Thailand Convention and Exhibition Bureau. We are here at IMEX Las Vegas. Why are we here? What do you think that we will get out of this?
Well, first of all, I have to say that this show is for the American market.
Right.
This is IMEX America. Well, the reason why we're here because we want to draw business from American market into Thailand. As you know, America is such a big country, you know, over 50 states and
Big population.
big population and Americans' nature, they have business and they have meetings all over the place. Most of the time inside the country, you know, across from west to east, east to west like that. And why we here is that because we're hoping,
right?
Yes, we brought private sectors with us,
like
three hotels,
and
Centara Hotels, JW Marriott, Phuket, and also Shangri-La on the other
So
side.
they're here with TZED. They're accompanying you to be in this IMEX.
We are
Las
like
Vegas.
facilitators, you know, helping them to get into this show, arranging to facilitate, you know, the space for them. And they themselves firstly must have their interest or their market in US already.
And we think that for Thailand to break through, we are quite established for the mice industry. Yes, but we also have we have competitors. How do we stay and then we go forward?
To be able to compete with other destinations, you know, in our neighboring countries, you know, in Asia or Southeast Asia,
Yes.
we have to really show, you know, how uniquely we are and what we have to offer. Thailand within the country itself, we have varieties of products and destinations and service. So we have to let the world know. We have to let everybody know that you know what sort of service and products that we have. So that's why, you know, we're here attending trade shows to showcase Thailand as a whole.
Thank you, Dr. Roomtip. And the Senate Sports Committee cannot yet conclude whose fault it is that the Bangkok Arena Futsal Stadium is not finished on schedule. Meanwhile, the organizers will spend these next 3 weeks promoting the international competition among Thais. The Senate's Committee on Sports called in all parties concerned with the Futsal World Cup 2012, scheduled to be held in Thailand next month, after FIFA decided the opening ceremony will not be held at the Bangkok Arena Futsal Stadium. The Bangkok Arena is still unfinished and may well be incomplete when the games start on November the 1st. Embattled Thai Football Club president Warawi Makwudi, summoned by the state for the third time, did not show up at Parliament, claiming he has to take care of foreign guests. The Senate will now use law to force Warawi to show up. The Bureau of the Budget claims it has already paid the entire 1.23 billion baht budget to the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, adding that the BMA should have started the construction once the first of the 4 installments was transferred in 2008. FIFA decided that the Bangkok Arena Football Stadium will not host the opening ceremony of this international game as scheduled. The BMA will use the indoor stadium at Hua Mak instead. Meanwhile, Suwat Liptaphalop, head of the tournament organizer, says Thailand should consider using other provinces to host international events as well. Suwat says promoting the event among Thais is the biggest challenge now. And that wraps up tonight's edition of Thai PBS English News Service. I'm Subhajit Glinsawan saying good night for now. Until tomorrow, Sawadee Krap.